Alright guys, we got a special treat today. We got the Underworld reworked kits for you while you're waiting through this maintenance time. And we have the team that they are designed to beat. They were designed to beat Darkhold and even Dormhold. So while we're going through these kits, we're going to look at them through the lens of fighting Darkhold and Dormhold teams. We'll talk about how some of the abilities are designed and how they'll work in practice. And then we'll see some footage of it at the end. So this will be up to you if you want to build this team, but make sure you don't just hear what I just said, that they're designed to beat that team, and then you go max these characters. Watch this video, watch the footage, watch all your other content creators, but let's go. And let's start with Mr. Negative. We already know his kit, so I'm just going to do cliff notes here. His basic, flips 2 positive effects, does damage, increased damage per summoned ally. Then his special, attacks primary target, defense down, and ability block. He's going to mind control primary target to attack the lowest speed. That mind control character is going to gain 25% damage. It's going to attack 2 times. So say if you do Morgan, Morgan is then going to attack the slowest character, Wong, and do 10% of his life, or 10% damage, right? That's what her basic does, plus damage that she does initially, plus that's increased by 25% damage. That's a lot of damage on Wong right out the bat if you're using this ability. It'll also spread all negative effects from the primary target to the slowest speed, so you're giving Wong that defense down and the ability block. It sounds like that happens after the damage, but that's fine. And the most important thing, on War Offense, it's going to apply trauma to the primary target, giving Morgan an ability block with trauma so Wong can't cleanse it is going to be very important. So that's how that's going to work. And just note, you cannot spread trauma, so Wong will not get trauma. The ultimate on War Offense, it's going to clear revive once. That's obviously a shout out to Dormammu, and 1 charge from the primary target. I don't know why 1 charge. That's stupid. It doesn't apply here. This team also works as a Heroes for Hire counter, so I guess it's going for that. But again, 1 out of 3 charges on Colleen is useless, so yeah. Anyway, attack all enemies for 350% damage. Flip all positive effects to negative effects. So this is that Omega Red style ultimate. Very powerful, and it cannot be blocked or dodged. Very cool. And then his passive, this is where he's going to be summoning things. So he gets a summon on spawn, and then whenever he takes a turn, he summons something else. These summons have their own kits in their own right. The cliff notes for that is that when they die, they reduce speed meter by 10% for all enemies. When they hit a mystic character, they also reduce speed meter. So that's how you're kind of controlling the enemy Darkhold team here. On War Offense, on death of a summoned ally, he's going to cleanse 3 negative effects from all non-summoned Underworld allies. He gains 50% max health and focus, and he gives 50% max health and focus to the Underworld, but only on War Offense. This is a War Offense team, and you're going to see this team is chock full of focus, and they need it because they stupidly put 100% on Morgan. You've heard me say that ad nauseum, that they put too much resistance on Morgan, and I stand by it. But anyway, let's keep going. We got Nobu stat increases, 60% health, 30% damage. That's a good damage boost, but he was so bad on damage, I'm not sure how much that actually affects it. 51% armor, 25% focus, and 25% resist. Nobu acts as like a buffer to the team. Same with Kingpin, but you're going to see that. Blade Master and Hand Archer also got stat buffs. This was done intentionally just to affect Nobu's summons, so don't go ahead and build your Blade Master and your Hand Archer outside of this team. You don't need to build those actual characters. So his basic does damage, applies bleed, and then it applies stealth to himself and the most injured ally. That's great. And he's going to gain an assist from a random hand or Underworld ally. So you're going to see a lot of assists coming out of this team. They have a lot of effects on their basics, so I think that's very cool. And I think Nobu even does the stealth on his ISO attack. We're going to see that in game. We don't have that information off the rip. So his special, he's going to summon 3 hand ninjas with offensive regeneration. He'll clear all of his negative effects unless he has trauma. And then he can only summon Blade Master and Archer. That's the same as it's been, but he gets an extra hand. His ultimate is completely new. He's going to apply 2 counters and 2 deflects to himself and all allies. And on War Defense, he's also going to apply 2 death proof. So, like I said, he's the buffer of the team. And his passive, pretty cool too. So his old passive remains the same. He can still randomly revive somebody. You don't ever want to rely on that. And on War Offense, if your characters have counter, they're going to gain 50% crit chance. And if they have stealth, 20% crit damage. So he's facilitating a little bit extra damage there. So nothing crazy coming out of Nobu. Then we got Taskmaster. Now Taskmaster is the controller on the team. His stat boosts don't look as as big, as influential, but he had better stats than the other characters to begin with. So when this says 30% damage increase, it feels better. But he's also getting 20% health, 15% armor, 10% focus, but he doesn't need the focus because as you're going to see, his abilities are just chocked full of them. So his basic, pretty much unchanged, 300% damage. He'll transfer 3 positive effects, I think it used to be 2, from the primary target, excluding taunt. So that's very strong, and again, we're seeing some strong basic attacks and ISO/counter attacks. His special, now this is the Morgan Killer, right? Where if we're looking at this through the lens of fighting Darkhold or Dormhold, we need a way to stun Morgan so she's no longer giving the enemy team speed meter. Even if we're rewinding them with our summons, we still want to stop that so we're getting a net benefit rather than staying even. So it's going to attack primary target, 350% damage. It gains 300% focus. So he's already getting focus from Mr. Negative on War Offense. He's also going to get focus from somewhere else that we're going to see later, plus 300% focus here. So you're not going to need him as a skirmisher. I think you can probably make him a striker or a raider at this point. He's going to rebound chain to 3 additional targets for 300% damage, applying offense down to all of them. That's great. And if he has 3 or more Underworld allies, it cannot be counterattacked, which is great because counterattack breaks the chain. Pretty standard for a chain attack. So his ultimate got a nice little boost too, 300% damage. We're just going to look at the in-war part. In war, instead, he's going to apply blind and heal block to all enemies as opposed to 2. It applies bleed. He bonus attacks all targets with bleed for 200% piercing. And if this character has 3 or more non-summoned Underworld allies, he's gaining 500% extra focus for this attack. So again, you're going to land that opening blind on Morgan, on Wong, on Strange, on Agatha, stopping all of their attacks dead in their track, dead on the spot. I don't know what I was trying to say there. And it's also unavoidable. So AoE blind to everybody is huge. And the heal block's nice too. Stopping that Agatha heal. Unless it bypasses heal block, I'm not sure. His passive, he already had a book passive. I'm not going to read through it. It's this basically what he used to do on defense, he's now doing on offense. Fantastic. He is also now increasing damage for the Underworld team and himself 30%. I think it used to be 20 or 25, so that's already really big. And then in war, he's giving another 25%, so it's 55% total. I believe that's the highest percentage damage gain we have in the game. Normally it's just 50, but now 55, so that's huge. This team should hit pretty hard. Moving on to Kingpin, we already kind of talked about it. He's similar to Nobu in the sense that he's just a buffer for the team. We'll talk right away about his armor. So his armor has got a 110% increase from 0, which should still be 0, but that doesn't make sense. So he's just middle of the pack in armor now. They're kind of bringing up all those characters with 0 armor, making them make a little bit more sense. He got 62% damage, 28% resist, and 42% speed. So that sounds like, oh my god, he's going to be so fast. No, he was stupid slow now, so he's just regular slow now. Sorry, he was stupid slow before, so he's just regular slow now. But still, that's a very nice buff. The Mercenary Bodyguard also got a stat buff. Again, this is just to help with his minions. It's not for the actual character. So the basic, he's going to attack the primary target for 270% damage. If this character has 3 or more non-summoned Underworld allies, he's going to gain crit chance and extra crit chance for each non-summoned Underworld ally. On crit, he's going to get barrier for 10% of his max life. I know what you're thinking. Why do I care if my Kingpin's barrier? I'd rather him barrier other characters. You're going to see why when we get to his passive. And he has a 50% chance to gain an assist from a random ally. You're going to see lots of assists flying all over the place from this team, which is great because they have a lot of basic attacks. So his special, he's going to summon 3 bodyguards, and they're going to have taunt and 2 death proof when summoned. So the death proof is new, so they can actually take an extra hit, especially from Wong kind of thing. So that's important. On War Offense, he will also apply Safeguard to himself and all Underworld allies. Again, that's huge when you're going against the Darkhold team, so you can actually keep your buffs from the Heartless special, the Morgan basic, because she's going to be blinded, or whatever, ability blocked, whatever the case may be. This Safeguard is going to help you out. I don't know when we're going to be using these abilities, in what order. We're going to have to do a lot of testing, but the idea is this team beat Darkhold in war. Nowhere else. His ultimate, pretty much all new as well. He's going to apply defense up for 2 turns to himself and all allies. He now also does offense up for 2 turns. And he's going to gain an assist from a random Underworld ally and another random ally. Now, it didn't say it does any damage, so I guess it's just these characters coming in doing damage, which is a little weird, but it is what it is. So again, he's the buffer of the team. And his entire passive is new because his old passive was like a year 1 character passive, right? So they wanted to give us another book to read. So on spawn, he's going to summon a bodyguard. That bodyguard starts with taunt and death proof, which is fantastic. It's going to eat the initial shot, which is cool. On this character, any villain ally's turn, there's a 50% chance to apply assist now to self or a random ally. So again, there's so many basic effects going on along this team that this is actually a very powerful part of this kit. At the end of this character's turn, if this character has barriers, we were talking about barrier earlier, he's going to apply speed up and offense up to all summoned Underworld allies. Now this is important because you really want to have speed up on the demons from Mr. Negative, especially the demon named Demon, because that is the one that does stun on his basic, and the more stuns we can get on Morgan and maybe Wong before he taunts, the better off we'll be. And if this character is attacked, he's going to fill his own speed bar and summoned ally speed bar by 20%. So, you know, it's going to help you get your summons to actually get attacks in. Those summons probably instantly die to Wong retaliate at that point, but it also helps Kingpin go, and since he has nice buffs, it's going to be good to keep him moving. Now here's another crazy part. He gains and gives 60% focus and resistance to Underworld. So we now have 50% focus from Mr. Negative, and another 60% from Kingpin. And this one is actually great because it's outside of war as well. So the idea that you're going to be missing your buff steals and not landing your blind from Taskmaster or your ability blocks or your stuns should not happen, which is great because they gave Morgan and Dormhold a stupid amount of resist, so we needed this much focus for this team to function. And now Green Goblin. Green Goblin is kind of the damage of the team, so he's actually going to be really important. I think it's going to go Mr. Negative, Green Goblin, and Taskmaster will be tied for 2, and the Nobu and Kingpin are there for kits. So Green Goblin, he got a 15% health boost, a 40% damage stat boost, that's a crazy boost, 20% armor, 60% focus, and 25% resist. So his basic did not get changed at all, but his special got a huge buff. So he's going to attack the most injured enemy with stealth, if there's an enemy with stealth, for 480% damage. And then he's going to bonus attack again for 500%. So that's nearly 1,000 damage. But wait, there's more. The attacks, so both of those attacks, deal 50% additional damage per positive effect on the target. So if we're thinking Dormhold, when do these characters get stealth? It's when they get dropped low. Agatha does it. Agatha also gives them a whack load of buffs. So now Green Goblin is using that against them, and he's crushing them hard, which is a very, very strong thing. That's why he is on the team. Characters killed by the stack cannot be revived, so even if there's Dormammu, Green Goblin's word is final and they stay dead. It is unavoidable, it cannot be blocked, so that's also very powerful. His ultimate got a slight buff, but it's boring. His special is where his power lies. Now his passive, the green mark, is the only part that's carried over from the old one, so everything else is new. So on Spider-Verse or Underworld ally, remove 1 positive effect from 2 random enemies that have positive effect but do not have safeguard. So it's purposely not targeting characters that have safeguard, so it can actually peel stuff off, which is great. On War Offense, if Mr. Negative is an ally, gain 350% extra focus for this action. Again, they're getting extra focus from Kingpin and Mr. Negative, but another 350% kind of makes this a positive, right? It's going to actually work, so I'm happy for that line of code. On spawn, it's going to apply defense down for 2 turns to the enemy with the most resistance. Morgan, right? That's going to be Morgan. This attack cannot be resisted. Great. On War Offense, if Mr. Negative is an ally, on spawn, apply defense down to all enemies. So again, this is a war team. It's going to do it to all enemies. That's great. If an enemy is Mystic, apply defense down for 2 turns. This attack cannot be resisted. So the idea here is you're going to get 2 defense downs out there. I think you're going to go all in on Morgan, get an ability block from her, from Mr. Negative. She's going to just wallop Wong because he's going to have defense down, and Morgan hits like a truck, and you're going to have trauma on Morgan. I think then you might try and kill Wong, which is a little crazy, but we'll see how it works. I don't know how it's going to work. We'll watch the footage here in a second. On war offense, he gains 30% armor, and he does the same for Underworld allies. Cool. Alright guys, here we go with some footage of Dormhold versus the Underworld team. And I'm going to try and contain myself, but spoiler, this team loses. It's going to lose. I'll show you the exact moment it loses and how they could fix it. They said they want this team to win, so hopefully they give it the skeletal treatment and they fix it, and hopefully it doesn't take them 6 months to do so. So right here, this is great. Attack Morgan, give her the ability block, Wong basically dies. And now, done. We just lost. We put Taunt on Dormammu. We're not going to be able to continue beating up on Wong. We're not going to get Green Goblin to finish off the Wong in time because he's getting speed along the way. Terrible. Terrible. Bad design. They don't know what they're doing. This team will still beat Darkhold, so it has value there. Except as players, especially at the top end, what you're going to do is you're going to have full Gamma on defense, and then you're going to have Dormhold on defense to stop this counter from even being possible. So it changes nothing in the war meta. So who should build this team? Completionists, I guess. People who want to have the full team and they could use it against any other team. You could probably use this to beat Unlimited. You can use it to beat Heroes for Hire, Young Avengers. I know we already have answers for all those teams, so the idea of investing in 4 characters that you probably have super under-leveled and a brand new character doesn't seem that appealing, and it shouldn't seem that appealing. So who should build this team? Whoever wants to. That's my recommendation. If you feel like you want to build this team, go ahead and build this team. I'm just going to fast forward through this. It's a slow death. Dormammu ends up dying to the Mr. Negative ultimate, but we get stuck behind the Wong taunt because we couldn't kill him in time. Green Goblin special. What should have 2-tap killed him. I believe that's what the design was intended to do, but because we didn't drop him to stealth, Green Goblin didn't go, he survived. Mr. Negative ended up peeling off the revive once with his ultimate, killing the Dormammu. Great, and that's all that happens here. Everybody else dies. Taskmaster even gets to come back only to die again. Now you can go in and clean with your Weapon X team. Good design, guys. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. Sorry if I seem super salty. We were waiting for information until the very last second. It's now 5 minutes before patch drops, so this video is going to be late. Sorry about that. Kits look good. Team looks good enough, but it doesn't do what we needed it to do. War meta, still trash. Stay happy, healthy, have fun. Share, like, subscribe. I like you guys. You guys are the reason I play this game still. Bye.